Today on Punk Rock Theologian, we're going to continue the humanity of Christmas by looking at Mary, who's obviously a central element of the whole Christmas story. But we only look at such couple little pieces of her story, and what I see in Mary is an emotional roller coaster that she went through, and God consistently coming alongside her at pivotal moments to just encourage her to keep going. Because Mary famously she comes into the story when the angel Gabriel appears to this teenage girl, scholars estimate about 13 to 15 years old, and says, "Greetings, favored woman, the Lord is with you." And Mary's first reaction is to be confused, which is fair, but it's also pretty impressive because most people's reaction to an angel is to be terrified and falling on the ground. But Mary's wondering what could happen, and when he says, "You're going to have a baby," she's like, "Well, how can that happen?" But he kind of encourages her and gives her some evidence of her relative Elizabeth, this woman who's known for being the barren woman. Yeah, she's pregnant. And that's the piece that convinces Mary to say, "Okay, I'm in, let's go with this." And she runs off and spends the next few months with Elizabeth, like building up her own faith. She's watching God carry Elizabeth through this miracle. And so by the time she comes home 3 months later, like she would be on a spiritual high at that point. She just watched God fulfill this promise. That pregnancy and especially the childbirth would have been terrifying. Like childbirth was very dangerous. Lots of women died in childbirth in those days. And especially a woman Elizabeth's age, this would have been terrifying. But God brought her through it. Mary was able to see God's faithfulness in that. But then now she's in her second trimester. She's starting to show a little baby bump. People notice, people gossip. And I have no doubt Mary tells her story, the true story about Gabriel and everything, but nobody believes her. And at that point, Mary's got to be confused at best, scared more likely, because, like, as people don't believe, and then especially when things get even worse, when word makes it to Joseph about this whole story, and he doesn't believe her at first. Because at that point, like, she's in danger. If Joseph wanted to, he was totally within his rights to drag her outside the city and they would have stoned her to death. But God comes through again. And Mary doesn't convince Joseph she's telling the truth. God does. He sends an angel in a dream. I'm guessing it's probably Gabriel again. And tells him, "Mary's telling the truth. You go ahead and marry her." And he does. So Mary is able to, like, "Okay, we're good. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna have this baby." Probably looking forward to it at this point. She's like nesting, getting things ready. And all of a sudden, "Oh, hey, the Roman emperor wants more taxes. And so we're doing a census and we've got to go to Bethlehem." That's 90 miles away. This is not a small trip. This is not easy. I'm not going to go into it, but there's probably no donkey. And if there was, she wouldn't be riding it. It's a pack animal. Like, almost certainly, Mary and Joseph are on foot for this whole trip. I don't know how many miles you can make a pregnant woman walk in a day, but it's less than 90. It takes a long time to get there. And probably every step along the way, Mary's going, "What is happening? How can this be what God had in mind?" And, of course, now we look at it and go, "Well, yeah, the Messiah had to be born in Bethlehem." But they're not thinking that at the time. They're just going, "Oh, we got to keep walking." But they go through and they get there, and famously, we might get to it in another video, but the whole birth doesn't go according, like, when you're laying your newborn baby in a feeding trough, things have not gone according to your plans, I'm sure of it. But then they get a visit from these shepherds who are telling about the angels that appeared to them, and that kind of is a boost and encourages them. And you see that Mary, like, ponders their words. A while later, they're at the temple doing a sacrifice, and a prophet, like, takes Jesus and makes this crazy prophecy over him and tells Mary that things are going to be rough for her. But it's just another little glimpse, another boost, if you will. And later after that, wise men show up, these amazing gifts and celebrating, and that's a big encouragement. But then a couple days later, they have to run for their lives because the king is trying to kill them. And you just see this up and down and roller coaster. But what you see is they keep going. They don't give up and try to bail out. And God consistently meets them in that and just gives them enough encouragement, enough of a boost to keep going and to take another step. And that's what I think we can really see from Mary, because that's our lives too. We go through ups and downs, and no sooner do you feel like you're getting a handle on things than something yanks the rug out from under you and you're spinning again. And if we can just keep going and rely on God to fulfill the things that He said He would do, then He meets us there, and He'll give you that encouragement if you're paying attention to notice it. He did it for her, He does it for us.